Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another video. I'm in this beautiful village of Arena on the Como Lake in Italy. Today, in this video, I would like to talk to you about 3 reasons why relationships fail and how you can prevent that. And before I start, my name is Dragana Spika and I'm a rapid transformational therapist and hypnotherapist. So let's get straight into it. 3 reasons why relationships fail. So let's think of a relationship as as a project between two people. So the first reason why a relationship or a project would fail is because there's no clear goal set at the very early stage of a relationship or a project. And what I mean by this is when you start a relationship, as soon as you can, really, you should discuss with your partner what his relationship goals are. And I know it's kind of an uncomfortable conversation to have, because if you've just met someone, you're not going to sit them down and point the lamp into their face and be like, what is your relationship goal? But what I mean is, in a conversation with this person, try to understand what is it that they would like to experience in their life with their partner. And if this is very different from your vision, your goal, most likely it will be very challenging to keep this relationship going long term. For example, if you would like long term, you know that with your partner, when you would like to have children and have a house and live in a quiet place, maybe on a mountain or in a remote place in any case, and your partner doesn't want kids and he wants to live in Manhattan in the middle of New York. Now, these are two different goals. These are two very different goals and objectives. And unless someone changes drastically, which is highly unlikely, one of these, you can try to find a compromise, but most likely there will be challenges along the way in terms of having kids or not having kids, or where you want to live, or there could be other subjects, other kind of areas in which you can agree or disagree. So have this conversation or as early as you can in a relationship, and try to establish what your partner's goals are, life aspirations when it comes to partnership, and compare them to yours. And if these are very different, then you should think about whether this relationship would work long term, or if you can try to discuss this with your partner. Say, well, these are my goals, what can we do about them? And this will avoid basically being with someone for a number of years, 5 years, 10 years, and you've never discussed your goals, and all of a sudden you wake up after 10 years and be like, wait a second, I want to live on the top of a mountain in Tibet and you want to live in Manhattan. This is not going to work. Now, of course, people can change, and as we evolve, we can change what we actually want for ourselves. But if at the very start you haven't even discussed this, there is a big chance that those things that you haven't discussed in the beginning, they stay the same, and you just discover them after 10 years. So having common goals really helps. Having goals which are similar helps, and talking about them. The reason why relationships fail is no communication on a daily basis as to how, why, where, when, and why we are doing things on a daily basis. So if we compare this to a project, imagine you have a project, you're working with this person, with your partner on a project, and let's say your project is to build a car. This is your project, okay? And imagine you say to this partner, okay, our project is to build a car. Okay, go. And you never discuss anything on a daily basis. How do you think this project is going to develop? Not really well. So you haven't discussed what do we need to buy, which parts, car parts we need to buy, who's buying what, where are we going to buy it, how much are we happy to pay for these parts, what is our budget, are we going to go together, do everything together? Are we going to split the responsibilities and so on? So the same goes for a relationship. If on a daily basis you're not communicating on these basic things as to what are we doing on a daily basis, who's doing what, how, where, when, and why, most likely there will be some misunderstandings. And if certain things are put under the carpet for a number of years, they're just going to make this relationship harder to, or less enjoyable to be in. So lack of communication can bring this relationship to basically a breaking point where one person feels one way, the second person feels the second way, the other way, and they've never discussed this, and this relationship is breaking all over the shop. So to avoid this, just have this conversation on a daily basis. And the third thing where relationships fail is people simply grow apart. Now, when we meet a certain person and we feel like we want to be together, we both feel like we want to be in this relationship, we are a match. And after a number of years, we have experiences, we evolve, we grow. And it can happen that we have grown this way and our partner has grown the other way. And after a period of time, we are no longer a match. It can also happen that we grow in the same way, in the same direction, and we are still a match after 10 years, after 20 years, we are still a match. But it can happen that we grow in different directions. And to compare this to a project situation, imagine that you have been working, or a person has been working at the reception of an accounting firm. And they've been a receptionist, that's fine. And then they say, well, okay, I can actually start studying. Maybe I want to be an accountant. These people really inspire me, and I want to be. And then start studying. And after 3 to 5 years, they've gained new skills now. And this position of an of this person, of a receptionist, is no longer a match for them. It was a match 5 years ago when they didn't have that qualification and those skills, but it's no longer a match. So, and the company doesn't offer them this possibility to kind of move upwards, they will most likely leave the company, so the relationship will stop. So same goes for people. If we grow in different directions, after a certain number of years, we will no longer be a match. Now, what you can do about this thing, you can keep being interested into what the other person, your partner, is doing. Keeping interested in what their aspirations are, about the skills that they're learning, activities, trips that they're taking, what they're interested in, and maybe try to understand it, because this way, and they do the same, because this way you would kind of keep up with each other, and it might help this get you to the situation where you're growing in the same direction. Because, for example, if one person you're a match, and one person starts being very much interested into spirituality and yoga, and the other person doesn't care, never asks any questions, never wants to know about it, never even asks, simple explanation, what happened, when you did that yoga seminar, or when you did that spirituality seminar, who are those people, what are they doing, what is that all about? And I'm not saying the other person has to absolutely have the same aspirations and follow, but at least understanding where this is coming from will help, kind of this person also growing in the same direction, at least as close as possible to the direction in which the other person is growing. So both people should do this. So as I said, imagine one person is into spirituality, all of a sudden the other person never wanted to know anything about it, stays here, and then now this person is very spiritual, this person is after a number of years, and this person is completely different. And after a number of years, they will most likely have difficulties communicating, and they would have very different perspective on things and on life. And this is why they would no longer be a match. And I also want to stress that the title of this video is Why Relationships Fail. I actually don't think that any relationship that has ended is a failure. Because every person, and this is a very important thing to stress, Because every person comes into our life and we're a match at that point, and then we have met at the point where we wanted to be with each other. We could offer something to each other. And if this is for the rest of our lives, great. And if it's just for a number of years or even months or maybe 10 years, maybe decades, and then we go our separate ways, that is also okay. That is also okay. So I've used this title because this is what how most people would think about it. But when I say failure, no relationship that ends is a failure because this person has played a certain role in your life and you did the same for them. So I hope this was helpful, and I'm sending you a lot of kisses. Have a beautiful day.